Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 9. Well, you're halfway through week 9. This week's focus, of course, as I mentioned in my announcement, is to read Walter Wink's article, which is a short one, but I think you'll be challenged by it and enjoy it. It's a little different take on pericope of the Sermon on the Mount. And then I want you to jump into the discussion forums on each other's group projects. You all worked really hard on your group projects, and I'm looking forward to seeing kind of how you interact. If you haven't jumped in already, some of the conversations are started, but jump in as soon as possible. So that's what this week looks like. Next week, you'll be crafting a proposal for your final research paper. So basically, I'm giving you week 10 and then up until Thursday of finals week to finish your final paper. So I want you to craft a proposal for your final paper, and then I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail in a minute. And then I'll probably post one more lecture early next week just to bring the class to a bit of a head and to wrap up, put it into context. I like to do that towards the end of the quarter. And why did we read the books that we read, have the conversations that we had as we kind of begin to form a Christian ethic. So that's what the next couple weeks will look like. I wanted to send you this video just to talk about the final paper a little bit, or the final project. And you can find this information on the syllabus. So standard issue, double space, Times New Roman, regular margins, 12-point font, use footnotes instead of endnotes, and I want a bibliography. The bibliography doesn't count in the 10 pages, and then also the title page doesn't count in the 10 pages. So between 10 and 15, you can't go over 15, and I would like you to not go under 10. That's roughly the range of the paper. So it's a 10-page research paper on a current ethical issue of your choice. So in your group project, you were assigned an ethical issue. The group project is basically a precursor to your paper. So maybe your church is facing an issue. Maybe you personally are facing an issue. Maybe there's something that has interested you that you want to do some research on. So what I'd like you to do is identify that and then come up with a proposal to do some research and articulate a Christian ethic. So it should look something like, but not identical to, the group project that you just did. In other words, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to draw from more than one type of Christian ethics methodology: the Sermon on the Mount, the topical methodology, the narrative methodology, ethics from the margins. Draw from each of those, or any combination of those, just more than one of those, in order to form your ethic. Then I would like you to also articulate the importance of the ethic, but then maybe a little bit of the history. How did we get to this point, and why has this become an important issue either for you or for your church or for Christianity in general? And so articulate a little bit of the history, define the problem, or define the issue. Then begin to work out and do some research on what a Christian ethic might look like with that, and then develop that out some more. You can use 3 sources from class, and then I would like you to utilize 2 outside academic sources, whether they're articles or books, at a minimum. So 5 total sources in your bibliography. 3 can be from class. 2 need to be from outside of the class, and you can just look in the footnotes of all the textbooks that you've gotten, or you might have saw something interesting, a mention in one of the readings that you've done. So look at those and find those outside sources. I can also help as you submit your proposal next week. I can help with, hey, maybe you can look at this, those kinds of things. So So that's kind of the idea of the research paper. So that would be a standard research paper thesis, argument, conclusion. If you want to do a project, that would be something like, hey, my church is facing this issue. Like, let's take the questions of race. My church is facing this issue of the questions of race. I would like to do a project that develops a curriculum that might train our parishioners on how to negotiate this conversation on racial justice, racial reconciliation, and racial inclusion. And so you might want to do that. That doesn't mean that you don't do research. It just means that you do research in a different kind of way in order to shape your project, if that makes sense. And so if you decide to do a project, something like that, then I'll see it in your proposal, and then we can have a conversation about it if you need more direction than that. So you will have footnotes, you'll have a bibliography, but the end goal of your project will be to produce something that can be used in your ministry, your specific ministry or personal context as you face a particular ethical question. So that's the idea between the paper and the project. And then you'll have until Thursday, September the 4th to finish all your work on that and turn it in by midnight. Well, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. That will be your final draft of your paper. And then hopefully I'll have them, Andy and I will have them back as quickly as possible. You'll be receiving your grades probably on Monday for your group project. I just wanted to see how you all are interacting and participating in the forums and the discussions before I gave a final grade for your project. So, and you'll receive the same grade as your group members for the project. So jump into the conversation, be involved, participate, and then begin to think about what you might be interested in doing for a research project or a different kind of project for the final project. Okay? So that's everything. You can email me, text me, or give me a call if you have any other questions. Thanks for so far for having being such a great class. You all have worked really hard. I feel like it's gone pretty well, and the rhythm of the class seems to be working out okay. I think this is the first time that I've taught this course online, so I really appreciate how much you all have participated and contributed to one another's learning, even though it's not quite the ideal circumstances. Would love to be with you in person, get to know you all, but those things will have to wait for another time. All right, so that's enough for this week. Again, next week, look for a brief lecture on trying to bring the class together, work on your project / paper proposal, and then begin to do some research on your paper project. All right, have a great rest of your week. It's Armageddon here in the San Francisco Bay Area with COVID-19, with a heat wave, and now we had some dry lightning and some fires that are fairly near to us, which means that our air index quality is really horrible right now. So we're all trapped inside in a heat wave with just smoke outside like crazy. So hopefully you all are in a better place, can take some walks outside and do those kinds of things that are important to our health. Okay? Take care, and we'll talk more early next week.